So, yikes.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And thank you for being with us every day. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. I'm your host, Stacey Gotsoulias, alongside my producer, Steve Granado. Steve. Woo, that was something.
Woo, that was something. Coming up later in the show, it's Fan Mail Friday. As always, you can send us your questions every single day. As a matter of fact, we're not just asking for questions on Thursdays anymore. You can ask a question any single time throughout the week. Just drop them in the comment section here on our YouTube channel, and we will answer them on Friday. We have a fan question coming up later on in the show. We want to talk about MLB rule changes. There was some interesting information that came out about them. We'll talk about that in our second segment. But Stacey, Game 1 loss was rough. 11-2 final against the Twins. Let's start with Jhony Brito.
Oof, poor Jhony Brito. We were talking about after his first two starts, and it was just one of those games where nothing was going right for the Yankees and everything was going right for the Twins, especially in that first inning that felt never ending. That inning was so long. I think it
was like
finally
30
ended.
Something minutes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that's the only reason why the game went as long as it did. And it still didn't go that long. But the first inning, oof, he wasn't locating. And then when he needed to throw over the plate to try and do something, the Twins were just tattooing the ball. I mean,
here's something I noticed,
Mhm.
and tell me if you notice this as well. So Brito had pretty good movement.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is where the ball was winding up.
Right.
So he was having some really good action on his fastball.
Right.
But it was breaking directly upper middle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing you can really do about that. Like that's the downside sometimes. There's two downsides to having good movement on your pitches. That is the anomaly, is where it's breaking to directly where you don't want it to break.
Yeah.
And then there's days where it's breaking too much and you don't know where it's going to go in a bad way, where it's missing the zone, right? Obviously, the what you want is it for it to break directly into the four quadrants, into the four corners.
Yeah.
Or start in on the plate and break off of it, or start off of the plate and break onto it. Those are what you want to happen. But there are days where the ball is moving right, but you're not, for whatever reason, putting it to where it needs to be put.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was just the day for Jhony Brito. So if you're looking for a silver lining for Jhony Brito on that outing, I think that's it. And I think that's probably what they're going to look at when they go look at video today.
Oh, yeah.
Or tomorrow before his next start in a couple of days. I wouldn't foresee this either way. However this outing would have went, I don't think it drops him out of the rotation right now.
No.
And I think that's one of the things they're going to be looking at is like, well, yes, results weren't there. But it's, like you said, just one of those days. And I think, again, that's going to be one of the things that they point to.
Yeah. Because I was in all the articles I was reading too, post-game comments from Brito, from Boone, from Higashioka, basically just saying they're going to study the game film, see what was going on. He's going to, Matt Blake's going to sit with him. They're going to look at everything and figure things out. But it's just one of those games that they happen, and a loss is a loss. It's just going to show up as a loss in, the grand scheme of things. Out of 162, no one's going to think back to April 13th and, oh, well, they lost 11-2, later in the season. That doesn't matter. A loss is a loss. But man, that bumps his ERA up a lot.
Yeah, 6.75 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not too concerned about Brito. His first two starts, very encouraging. His second start, or rather his first start with all the strikeouts, which was I wouldn't say uncharacteristic, but not the norm for him throughout his minor league career.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seeing those strikeouts really pile up, something we saw on a few occasions last season at AAA. But yeah, it's still encouraging signs. Again, a lot of movement from Jhony. If you're looking for that silver lining, again, that's your main takeaway from Jhony Brito. But Anthony Rizzo, if you're also looking for a takeaway.
Yeah. Rizzo was basically the only guy who did anything. The Yankees only got 4 hits. He got 3 of them. 2 of them were home runs. And when games like that happen, I always joke about, oh, at least it's not a shutout, when they're down by 9, 10 runs in the beginning of the game. Rizzo got his first home run in the 3rd inning and his second home run in the 9th inning. And yeah, I mean, it's a good sign from him. He's not having any issues with his back, as I knock on wood so far. So far, so good for him. It's just kind of funny that, I mean, he literally was the entire offense last night.
I have a dumb question. I have a thought. We're going to talk about MLB rule changes here in the second segment, so make sure to stick around for that. I have a rule change. And I've been thinking about this for years. And I think it would, but before I say it, because I know it's going to be controversial, let me first say that I think this rule change won't make that big of a difference, but it'll give our game a stupid wrinkle, which I love baseball for, because it has so many stupid little things about it that I love it so much. I think there should be a white flag rule, that a team has a white flag, a literal white flag in the dugout that they can use at any time to end a game. For whatever reason, they don't have to give an answer or a reason to the umpire. All the manager has to do is step out of the dugout and wave the white flag and the game is over. As long as they're losing, obviously.
Right. See,
because with all like the dumb male grandstanding that there is in baseball, what manager in their right mind is going to be the first one to use it?
That's true.
Who is going to actually step out of the dugout and admit defeat like that?
That's
because
true.
There is legitimate like advantage, like game time advantages, like season advantages to just quitting. Right?
Yeah, because you don't have to use certain people out of the bullpen.
Exactly.
You can save. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. And to do that, especially like it does, there is no winning in that in quite literal senses, because if you do it at home, especially if you do it at home at Yankee Stadium, so many boos, boos. If you did it on the road, like they're pounded on you.
Yeah.
Like it's and like owners would be upset because they lost concession sale. It's obviously this would never happen. But your thoughts on the white flag rule?
Well, it's funny that you brought that up, because my brother thinks there should be a mercy rule that after a certain point, like if a team's down by 12 runs after 6 innings, there's probably no chance of them ever possibly scoring 13 to tie the game. He has like a certain number of runs that need to be done, and he wants that so badly for MLB. I have to tell him about this white flag idea, though. But you're
that's
right.
What I'm saying is that this takes the onus off of that rule.
Right.
It still, in theory, keeps it in that type of thing in place.
Yeah.
But
you're right. Who would want to be the first one to do it?
Who's going to be the first manager to admit defeat like that? And what's the threshold?
Yeah.
Is 8 runs enough? Do they look at the lineup in the 9th, going into the bottom of the 9th and see they're down by 6 and realize it's not worth doing it? Or like, oh, we don't want to waste that arm in the top of the 9th. Like at what point, what is the threshold to where they're saying screw it?
That's interesting. Let us know in the comments what you think about this.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had that thought for a few years. Again, admittedly, it's dumb. It will never happen. But I think it would be funny. Speaking of things that are funny.
Oh, yeah.
IKF on the mound.
Yeah.
We found a spot for him.
We did. We found a spot for him. He worked around a single. He threw like a 36-ish mile an hour ephus. It kind of got away from him, but still it was.
Oh, kinda?
Yeah. All right, I got away from him.
Not even over his head, over the top of the bat.
Yeah.
And 3 feet wide and behind and to the backstop. I think that got away from him.
Yeah, that would be like me trying to throw a ball. I will say, we went on vacation as a family to Florida to boardwalk and baseball. And I remember my brother was probably about 10 at the time, and he threw a ball like 36 miles an hour. It was like one of those pitch speed things. And I was so impressed. I was like, wow, he threw a whole 36 miles an hour. But when you see a grown man do it, it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
Baseball.
kinda
But yeah, they
embarrassing.
found a place for IKF. He could be a relief pitcher. Who knew?
I thought they would have thrown Oswaldo. I thought they would have thrown Oswaldo.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, well.
The same thing.
Oh well. That's just how it is, I guess.
Mhm.
IKF for reliever. If you were a lefty, if you were a lefty, he'd be a legitimate bullpen option right now.
Yeah.
No, he would not be a legitimate bullpen.
No.
But that'd be funny.
Mhm.
Anyway, lopsided games. They're always interesting, Stacey.
Mhm.
They're always interesting, even though they're not.
Right.
Because you get something like that. I mean, remember we got the what was it, Rizzo pitching when he was in Chicago.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You got to see Rizzo pitch. We get to see those against Freddie Freeman. Like all those dumb moments are super. He struck out Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
I do love those. So that is where the mercy rule, you lose that.
Yeah.
Right. You lose those moments. And admittedly, they're kind of more fun for online discourse than they are for sitting and waiting 2 hours for that to actually happen.
Yes.
It's more fun when you're scrolling on Twitter. You're like, oh, huh, Anthony Rizzo pitched. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
But also just the proliferation of position players pitching is kind of taking it away from me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's become a little too common.
It's a legitimate tactic now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's not it's not a novelty anymore. It actually has become a thing that managers have in the back of their mind. They think of guys, okay, he can probably pitch an inning. We don't have to burn out the bullpen. We have someone who plays infield who can throw the ball maybe 80 miles an hour. Let's put him in. Yeah.
Let us know what you think about this. Obviously, as a game, it's a wash. It's over. It's done. Game 2 tonight. So you turn the page and you move on. That's just kind of how games like this go. But let us know how you feel about everything we talked about here. How about IKF as a pitcher? Anthony Rizzo, Jhony Brito. How do you feel about my white flag rule? Don't yell at me. I'm a gentle soul. When we come back, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we have some information about the rule changes and how they have affected the game statistically. And also, we have a poll that we asked you about Oswaldo Cabrera. So we're going to talk about that in just a second.
Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, but the actual total is closer to $200. If you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. I've been using it for a few years, and I've had them cancel more than one subscription for me. And they also let you know if your bank balance is getting too low, which is great for me because I usually don't pay attention to that stuff, and you get the warning on your phone. So it's really cool. So stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. It's the fastest-growing ticketing app in the country for a reason, and you get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone so you never have to check your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Back here on Locked On Yankees, our second segment. Hey, we want to thank you for making us your first listen every single day to the everydayers out there. Next week on the show, of course, some big series. The Angels coming to town, the Blue Jays as well. Shohei, Trout, Vladdy Jr., Bo Bichette. Bunch of fun. So make sure to stick around. Of course, on Monday, we're going to recap the Garrett Cole versus Pablo Lopez game. That's going to be a big one. Very, very excited for that Sunday rematch of this series. First, Stacey, as mentioned, we had a poll that we asked the other day here on Locked On Yankees after Oswaldo Cabrera's big hit. We asked you this here over on our YouTube side. And again, remember to hit subscribe. That way you can be a part of these polls. Franchy Cordero is scorching hot, but Oswaldo Cabrera, his clutch ninth inning go-ahead RBI won the game in the series for New York on Wednesday. Do you think with the logjam and battles for playing time, Oswaldo will start to get more at-bats? Has he earned them? What would you do if you were Aaron Boone? Play him every day or platoon him? Over 100 respondents, 84% saying play Oswaldo every day. That is a wide margin, Stacey.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm surprised by how wide it is, actually, because usually our polls are kind of close when we put them out on YouTube. But yeah, people are overwhelmingly thinking Oswaldo needs to play every day. And it seems that way because it feels like the more bats he gets, the better he gets, obviously, at hitting. He'll hit more if he has more at bats and it's more regular playing time for him. And he's just, I mean, I say it all the time. He's amazing. They can plug him in anywhere. And he's just, okay, I'll make a catch against the wall, even though I've never played here, or I'll do this. It's fine. He's great. I mean, every team should have an Oswaldo Cabrera where you can just plug some guy in anywhere and he does well. It's amazing.
Some comments that we got here on it. This is coming from Why Not 1819. Franchi and right, Cabrera and left, Judge and center. Your thoughts?
I saw that comment. For the time being, sure. I mean, until Bader comes back, why not? Because he's on his way, by the way.
He's progressing well, yeah.
Yes, thank goodness. And actually, most of the injured guys seem to be progressing well. So that's a good sign for the Yankees. But yeah, I don't mind that at all for now. Play the hot hand.
Other comments, Alex Korean with how many positions Cabrera can play. And for Boone wanting to rest all his starters, there's no reason Cabrera shouldn't be in the lineup somewhere in pretty much an everyday capacity. Christopher Woodson commented back saying, I feel that he could play anywhere if needed any day. Good players find themselves in the lineup somewhere consistently.
True. Like we said in the first segment, surprised he wasn't the one pitching.
Yeah. Fair. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way you can always be a part of our YouTube polls. We try and put out at least 2 a week. And we're always asking you what's going on. And of course, that's also where we get your feedback and you tailor the show. See, we put out that question and you directly answer it. And hey, we're talking about it. So your comments can be read on the show as well. You can always be a part of it. Make sure to join in. Stacey, we had also mentioned the MLB rule changes. They put out kind of some propaganda about it, to be frank. But yes, the rule changes are making a significant impact. And it looks like not a lot of people are complaining anymore. It's almost like I told you so 2 months ago.
Yeah. A lot of the people who were complaining about how quickly the games are going, although I feel like there is a difference, though. The people watching on TV are liking how quickly the games are going, but the people who were there in person are kind of like, whoa, this is really quick. We need more time to do the things that we normally do when we watch games.
I've been to 2 games, 2 Angels games. Angels Dodgers and Angels Blue Jays opening day. I mean, I also watched 120 whatever games last season of AAA with the pitch clock, and there was 1 second shorter on either side, 14 seconds and 19 seconds. So even quicker in theory. But the rule changes. This is what they put out in case you missed it. This is through April 12th. 9 inning games are down exactly 30 minutes. From 3:07 to 2:37. That's how long a game should be. Come on.
Yeah, no, really, because they used to be that long. Yeah.
Offense is up from 8 runs a game to 9.4. Averages, this one is the big one. Averages up 20 points. So remember, we did not have the shift ban at AAA last year.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep calling it the shift ban. It's not a ban.
It's not a ban.
Shift. It's just it's a reining in.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same ring to it. But that's the one. I don't know how about you. That's the one that really stuck out to me is 20 points. That's not small.
Yeah, no, that's big. Yeah. Like that was the one that I thought was going to make the biggest difference out of everything. Because, the guys that you saw, batting averages were so low. And I know people don't like paying attention to batting average. You look at the other numbers, but there were some batting averages when you look at these guys last year, hovering around like 210, 220. And that was like unheard of. Like if you were batting 210, 220, you weren't starting, you weren't playing because you would not be in the lineup with an average that bad. So that one jumped out to me. That's a big jump.
Stolen bases up 1.7 per 9-inning game, the highest since 2012. They didn't show the stats for last year. Again, kind of propaganda-y. Just to show, hey, we were right. But they were right. And I've told everybody that from the very beginning. I've been singing the praises of the pitch clock. And also, can I just gripe?
Sure.
I hate the word pitch timer.
Pitch timer?
Because that's what they've officially branded it as, the pitch timer.
Oh, no, I don't like that
It's
either.
the pitch clock. It just is the pitch clock.
Right.
It drives me nuts. And also, sweeper. I hate it. I hate the word sweeper. I hate it so much.
It's really funny because I only really started noticing that this year, and I thought to myself,
because it's only a thing this year.
Right,
It's new.
Right. Because
why are we all just randomly saying sweeper? I tweeted about this, and I feel like a lot of people are feeling this right now. Why out of nowhere just sweeper?
Because I thought I missed something, and I thought, oh my God, did I miss a new
No,
pitch
you
being
didn't miss
designated?
anything. We all collectively missed an email from Major League Baseball to all Bally affiliates and all RSNs. Hey, by the way, it's a sweeper now.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one screaming about this.
Yeah, because I noticed it during a spring training game, in the Yes score bug, it popped up sweeper, and I'm like, the hell's a sweeper?
So here's the thing. Again, I've talked about it a million times. I'm an Angels fan. I've gone to a couple Angels games. So they implemented a new thing at Angels Stadium that has the pitch, like what the pitch is, like on the video board, which they didn't used to have. And I think that when they implemented that, knowing how the inner workings of Major League Baseball work, with years of working indirectly with them, and how sometimes it's kind of a mess, to be nice about it. When you go to Angel Stadium, and what I think someone is throwing a sweeper, I don't think that information is in the system yet.
Oh,
because at Angel Stadium it says unknown.
Really? Okay, that's
Yes.
funny.
It literally says unknown.
Wow.
So I think if I had to take a guess, that system has not been updated yet. Major League Baseball rebranded it.
Yeah.
And someone is manually going in there and putting in sweeper like into game day or something to that effect. Maybe it's just Angel Stadium in particular, because
That's
it's the only
funny.
Major League Ball club I've gone to this year, but that's happening. Anyway, what do you guys think about the rule changes? What a can of worms I just asked for. Let us know in the comment section, as always. We're going to take our last break. We got a fan question, and it's actually pretty interesting. And I had to do some research on it, so we'll answer that when we come back.
Pro Baseball GM is the coolest game that I've played in a long time. And I always thought that I could be a Major League GM, but it turns out it's not that easy. And if you've had the same thought and fantasized about being Brian Cashman, download Pro Baseball GM immediately. You get to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise. You play through the seasons, and you lead your franchise and fans to glory as you build a historic dynasty. You're responsible for hiring the coaches, the staff, managing the money, scouting and drafting players, and you manage through difficult personalities and injuries, navigating your franchise through free agency and all the ups and downs of a season. All of this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Baseball GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. Locked On Yankees listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On in the game stores, so make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up in the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today.
Back here on Locked On Yankees, our final segment of the week. We had a question here. Of course, you can always ask us questions here for Fan Mail Friday. Always drop a comment, and we are watching them. This is from a couple of days ago. This is coming from Danny Wagner. Hey, thanks, Danny, for joining in on the show. Asked us, essentially me, what happens now if Florial were to be brought up during the season? Can the Yankees start sending him back to the minors since he went through waivers already? So remember, he was sent down. He was essentially outrighted or assigned, however you want to, whatever. There's a bunch of words for it. He was sent back down to AAA when he couldn't be sent down. So he went through the waiver process. Nobody claimed him. And then he went down, and he's been playing with Scranton. He's been leading off, by the way, for the Rail Riders. which he did all last season too.
Mhm.
So this is the process, and I want to thank our friend of the show, Kiner-Falefa, for helping me figure this out, because I asked him. He talked to Florial the other day about this whole situation, and then he also learned some things about it. So this is what happens now if the Yankees were to call Florial up and wanted to send him back down. He would be designated for an assignment. There would be a grace period, essentially, between when he... I don't know how to say. Just there's a few days.
Mhm.
This process essentially allows time for the Yankees to open up trade options.
Okay.
If the Yankees, so he is still a member of the Yankees at this time, and the Yankees could elect to trade him. I don't know what the official timeline is here, but last time it lasted from April 1st when he was DFA'd through April 5th.
Okay.
When April 5th hit, he was placed on outright waivers, and that's what would happen again. He would go through the waiver process again. Again, I don't know how long that process is, but it lasted last time from April 5th through 1 p.m. Eastern time on April 7th. If he's not claimed, the Yankees would assign him to AAA. He would be outrighted, or he would be assigned waiting to be outrighted. This time, however, he can deny. So he couldn't do that last time. He would be able to deny this outright assignment, and he could become a free agent. So again, he would be DFA'd. The Yankees would explore trade options. He would be waivered. If he was not claimed, he would be assigned to AAA. Then Florial can either accept or deny and become a free agent, or go to AAA. So that is the answer to that. It is a weird process, but now that it has already happened that one time, it all has to happen is one time, then they can deny that assignment and become a free agent. So
Interesting.
That's obviously something that would be a conversation he would have with his agent,
Right.
and they would get feelers out. I mean, throughout this whole process, they'd be having feelers like, how do other teams feel about me? Is there any interest, like, to understand? Because it'd be like teams would be like, well, we don't want to trade for you, but we would be interested in signing you, that type of thing. So Thanks again for your question, Danny. Again, don't forget to drop questions throughout the week, and you could be a part of the show on our Fridays. Stacy, this week and Friday night matchup, Nestor versus Louis Varland, Domingo Germán versus Tyler Mahle, and of course it's Jackie Robinson Day on Saturday. And then Garrett Cole versus Pablo Lopez on Sunday. That's the premier matchup, right? Like that Sunday game. I don't care how these next two games goes. That's the game.
Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah, because the Twins made that trade with the Marlins. They traded away Arias and got Lopez for a reason. So, yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can be a part of it. Coming up on Monday, when we break down that matchup and everything else that happened over the weekend. And, of course, preview everything that's going on this coming week. Got Angels and Blue Jays here this week. So, my Halos. See how they do at Yankee Stadium and see Shohei go off. Remember last time Shohei was there, things happened.
Yeah.
Things. Anyway, we'll talk about all that coming up this week. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. If you're on the audio side, jump on over to the YouTube side. It is linked in the episode description. Anyway, that's going to do it for the weekend. I am Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gatsoulias. We'll see you on Monday.